Hello everyone, welcome to this tutorial. Now in this tutorial we are going to be discussing about the Laravel API or API development with Laravel. So let's get started. So now what is an API? So an API simply stands for Application Programming Interface, which is used to connect or it is used to allow software systems to communicate and share information with each other. So basically APIs crucial component in modern web and mobile applications. So mastering API development will be a very essential skill for you as a developer. So here the goal of this tutorial is just to guide you step by step on how to create a functional and secure API using Laravel. So by the end of this tutorial, you should be able to create, configure, and test your own APIs with Laravel. All right, so I believe you're excited. So let's get started. So what you're going to do here, you're going to create a simple API using Laravel 10, and we'll build a simple CRUD application that is create, read, update, delete API for a product resource. So you're going to have a product website, basically a Laravel app, which showcases different products with their prices and description. And then you're going to use APIs to create the product itself, be able to read, update, and also delete. And basically, that should be the starting point for when you want to learn about APIs. Okay, so here I've already installed Laravel, as you can see. So I'm using Laravel 10, which is the latest. And it's very simple to install Laravel. You just need to come to your commands. Just within your terminal and just run Composer. I believe Composer is common. So if you're using Composer, you just need to run this create, that is Composer, then project, and then prepare, then this. And then of course here you just indicate the project that you want to create. So in this case, this is Laravel, then Laravel, then of course API, mine is demo CRUD. So that is what we have in there. So you just need to have that. And then once you are done with this, then you are good to go. There are other ways of installing Laravel, but this is the easiest one. You just need to have the composer and then you run that command and then you are good to go. You also need to have XAMPP because I'm using XAMPP within this application here. So you also need to have it installed. All right, so let's continue. So that is the installation and setting up your application. So the next thing you just need to have, once you have it installed, you need just to come back and then go to your .env file. So Control P and then .env. And then here you just need to create the database and give it the name. And of course the name will be whichever name you want to choose to give, and then you're good to go. Okay, so that is on database connectivity with your XAMPP, because here I'm using XAMPP. Now, the next part is to create a model, a migration, and controller. So in Laravel, we can create a model with migration file and controller at the same time. So that means here we can, actually so let me show you. So here we just need to run this command. So PHP artisan, and then you're going to say make model. So the model, and then you're going to have the model is product. And then here I'm going to have that dash and then MC. So this means that we can create the model, the migration, of course, and the controller at the same time. So this is going to do all that work for us. So when I run this is on the application that we are in. Now what it has done, it has created a model. At the same time, it has created a table for us, which is product table, and then it has created for us the product controller that we need to use. So this is an ND command. If you don't know about it, as a Laravel developer, you may want to note it down. So basically, it has created a product, and then of course the other items. So now once that is done, let's just come back to our VS Code. So we have our controller, we have our model, which has been created, which is this one. Now within this model here, what we need to do, we need to do something here. I will need to run this protected, then fillable. So what I'm doing here, what I just want to fill my database with this information. Because we want to do that, we must have this fillable, where you specify which items that you want to include in your database. So here I'm going to have these 3 of them. So you're going to have the name, description, and the price, like that, and then you save this. So that's what goes within the protected fillable. And then once that is done, we need to go to the tables. So we need to type product. So I'm using Control V to do this. So within your products table, so far, once you run the migration command or create migration, these are the two entries that are created. So we need to fill up others. So for example, we need to have table. We're going to have table and then string. And then here we are going to have name, just the same way, the same ones we have just added within the protected fillable. And then here I'm going to have table. I'm going to have text. So the text is going to be description because we want to have description. Then outside there, we're going to have, this is going to be nullable. Okay, and then we have table. Next, here we are going to have decimal. And then we're going to, inside we're going to indicate a string, price. And then we're going to give it these 2 values here. So the first one is going to be 8 and then 2. And then like that. So what is going to happen there, of course, is going to give, actually this is the decimal places, because the price, of course, will have decimal places, or 2 decimal places, then the digits that should be given here. All right, so that's what we have. So we have description, nullable, and then that. So save that, and then once you have saved this, the unexpected 2. Sorry, there should be a comma there. Yeah, so let's run this command again. And what has happened is that now the table products table has been created within our database, which is API. I gave it the name database to be API CRUD. Okay, so that is done. So we have successfully created the product controller. Of course, we have ran that, and then now we have created the product controller and of course the model. So what I will want to do is to come back here and then look for the product controller. The product controller is here. And what we want to do, since we are implementing a CRUD application using an API, I'll want now to populate the controller with information. So here, what I'm going to do here within the controller, the first part here we're going to have is the public function, which is of course the index. And then within the index there, I'm going to have return products, which is basically saying return all the products, and then like that. So what will happen here, we are simply saying within the index function, we want to return all the products within this given application. So that's what we have here. We need another one. And of course, we need to import this particular model because we are calling it now. Okay, now next is we'll have a public function. We'll have another function here. And this function, this time, this one is going to handle the store. So you're going to have store. You're going to pass a request there. You're going to have that request. passed. So once we pass those two parameters, within the request is where now we're going to make the request. For example, within the store here, we want to validate, of course, the data that we are going to enter into the database. And that means we are doing a request. So we are going to use, and I believe this is, if you are not new to Laravel, I believe you might have done this before. So I'm going to have validated, then request. Then within request, I'm going to call this to validate. And then we are going to have this. And then here, the first part, of course, remember the credentials we filled within our table when we are creating. So these are the ones we want to request for them to be validated before they get into our database. So we are going to have this, and then we are going to say required. So we are going to have required, then it's going to be like this. I'm going to use that sign there. Then max is going to be 255, like that. And then you're going to have that comma there. And then the next one you're going to have is description. So you're going to have description, which is going to be this way. And then you're going to say required as well. Okay, and then we have price. We're also going to have it there. So we're also going to have it as required, and then we have those two. Okay, so this is and then you're going to say this is going to be numeric, because the value that we want to accept there, of course, should be a numeric value. So we are going to have it that way. So we need to end this one like this. So we have this, and then going to, so there's no way we are going to allow somebody to enter data without it being validated, as you can see. So down there, we are going to have a variable, which is product. And then here we're going to say product is equals to the product model. And then you're going to say create. And then here we are going to call the validated as we did there. So I think that is simple to understand. And then lastly, we are going to return this this response as JSON. So we are going to have this JSON, and then we're going to return this. Now this JSON we are returning is to show that we have successfully, that is, the product has been successfully entered, and then we want now to get the response in terms of JSON of it, so to show that the request has been made successfully. So we are going to see that as we do it, as we test. So there's another function there. So let's continue with the other function. You're going to have another function here, which is going to be the show function. Now within the show function here, we are going to have, we're going to return this, to have a return statement, which is going to return response as well. Now within this response, we're going to have here is, since this is the show, we are going to return the response to show that everything has gone okay, and the status. Okay, so this is 200 status, which means that here we call the variable here product like this. You need to have a comma, and then you're going to say 200. So 200 is just to mean that the status okay, that the message, that the particular data has been verified, and then it has been created and then posted into to our database. So you need to show this within the show function here. So that's what is happening there. And then next we have is public function, which of course this one now is update. So you're going to have this as update. So you're going to have a request as well there. So we are going to have that request. And then here we are going to have, so here what we want to do is, in case we want to update our data within this given application. So I'm going to use this same thing. because here we want to update our data again. So here we're going to call the name, and then here we are going to require, of course, the same thing we did. So here there's no need for more explanation. And then down there we're going to have this product, and then we're going to have this delete. Sorry, not delete. We're going to come to delete. You're going to have this as update, which of course we are calling the validated. Okay, and then down there we need to return this JSON response. So we need to return it here like this. So we are going to show that the product has been, of course, we are now able to update our product. So the last one is the one now, that one for delete. So since this is done, so let's come to now for delete. So you're going to have the public function, and then there the public function is destroy. So the destroy, this one is going to take in, since this one took in the request, because we are doing the request, want to request for the given data. The destroy here is going to take in the variable of product, this, then product. So here we want to identify a particular product, and then we want to delete that given product. So here you're going to have the product, and then you're going to say delete, just like that. Then down there we're going to have return response, and then here we're just going to say deleted, which with the status of 200. 200 is status okay. Now we also have other status. For example, you might have seen them. 404, which means not found. 500, which means internal server error, and so forth. So those are the different we call them HTTP status responses, which of course they enable you to know what is happening if there is something that is missing. So that is it. So that is now our controller, and that's basically what's that. So we are ready to go, and this is just a simple API application. So let's go to what Laravel provides. It is called API routes, whereby we can now, of course, create our API. So here what we'll need, we just need to create now a route for that resource that we have created. So here we're going to have, I keep forgetting that one. So here we're going to have the resource, and then here we're going to have products, and then here we'll have product controller. So we are calling the product controller class, so that now we can do our API. So here we have the products. We have products, so the API resource, then products, then like that. So I don't know what is missing. Okay, so we need to import this class as well. So we need to have that class, which is already imported. Okay. So now this is this is now what we have so far, and now we are ready to implement already now our API. So for example, we want to do several things. For example, we want to list items within, we want to get a request, we want to post a request, we want to do several things. So our controller is working fine, unless there is anything that we might have forgot, but we are still able to debug this. Now you need to have an application called Postman. Postman is a good application that you can use when you want to develop your APIs. So this is a very good tool that you can use when you want to develop your API. So you need to have it with you if you want to test your APIs when you are developing them. Okay, so so we can begin testing. So what you need to have, ensure your application is running. If you're following up, ensure it is running. Here we add this, so we need to have this. I don't know if it is running on. Yes, it's already running here. I believe everything is working well. So let's just see if the application is running. So it is good. So this is our Laravel. So we can begin. Now what we need to do here for us to test our APIs, we can do the first thing here, for example. So we can list all the products. So you just need to type the 127. Actually, basically is this one here. I just need this because this is our local host. So within our postman, we need to have it this way. Okay, so what you need to have here is you just need to run this, and then you need to append this with API. Since we have it, when you go to our application, you can see here what we have is it API. You can see it is API resource, and of course you're accessing it through the API. So you need to have you need to append the API. So what you need to have here, you just need to have the slash API, then slash products, since we have products. So the products we have is this one here. So this is this. So remember, it is a resource, and by resource I mean we have I mean we have all this. Actually, I should not have typed everything, like sure. Like when you run the PHP artisan make product controller with the resource, it means that it will make all this index, store, show, update. That is the update. Sorry, is it update? Yes, update. Then destroy. All of them, they are going to be made. So what you're going to do is just to fill them up with the kind of CRUD functionality that you are creating. So that's what I mean by resource. So you want to list all the products within our API. So what you are doing here, we're just calling this API, and then you are saying list all the products. Now, before we do that, we can't list all the products because we have not created any products so far. So what I'll need to do here, let's see if we run this send request here. So what it is saying, so what it is saying, the patch method is not supported. Actually, patch is for so this patch, basically this is for updating. So we do get request is the one that is done. So you can see it is showing it is empty because there's nothing. So we need to fill up this data here. So what we need to do, we need to go to, we need to have, so you can see before we continue, so what we have here, we have different, what we call them as HTTP requests. For example, we have get, which is used to get whichever data you have, for example, within your database and so forth. Post, this one is used to post data. In other words, to submit data to your database. Put is used to update together with patch, and then delete, of course, it is to delete data. So this that is, there are 5 of them, are very important when you are developing an API. So you need to understand them very well so that you can use them when developing. For example, now we are doing this one with a backend language, Laravel. Now, when you'll be having a front-end language, like, for example, let's say you're using React or you're using Vue or whichever front-end framework, you'll want to understand how this works so that you can use them within your React applications or within your Vue or whichever framework you like. So before we do that, what we're going to do here, we want to fill the data of this. So what we're going to do here, we are going to have, you can see here we have something we call query params. So this query params means that here you can insert parameters within your given postman within this postman. So what you're going to do here, we are going to have the first one, which is name, because name, because remember this is the kind of data we have in our table. So we have name, description, and the price. So we have name, then the value here, I'm going to say shoe polish, for example, shoe polish. And then I'm going to also have description, of course, because remember we have description. And then within description here, we are going to have shoe polish, shine, just something. So don't worry about all this. So, and then you're going to have price. So price of that one, let's say it is 10.99. Remember we kept this one as 822 with maximum of 80 digits, 2 decimal places, like that. Okay, so we have get, and here what we need to do, we need to do post, because we want to post this data to our database. So here, when I click send here, let's see this. Okay, so what we have here is that this data has been updated to our database, and you can see what we have here. It has been updated with an ID of 1 there. And of course, we can fill other. Even before we do that, we can, of course, inspect within one of our. So here we can. So that is the password for the database. So the database here, use API CRUD, that is the database, and then select all from products. And you can see this is now what we have filled within our database. So that's what we have there. So we can continue doing this. So I can just come here and change this to something else. So let me just do this quickly. So we are just going to, so just changing these values, this price, description, and then you just have this one as post, and then you click enter. And then so, or else we can still do this together. So I just want to save on time. So we have name here. So the first one is this one. Oh, sorry, this one has just deleted the whole thing. Okay, so let me just do this quickly and then good to go. Okay, so now I've added several products, and we can see them here. So all these are the products that I've added through the API using the same method here. So there are 7 of them, and I've added them through the postman through the API. So now we can do other things. For example, we can do the get request. Now the get request here, for example, we can do something like, so let's say we want to show a single product. So with an ID, let's pick a product with an ID of 3, which should be peanut butter here. So we can just come back here and do that using the get request. So get request is just to go to the database, and then it will be able to get for us the specific product. So undefined variable product. So I think we have an issue with our controller. You can also test your APIs through Chrome, but this is not recommended way. Postman, of course, is always the recommended way. But the reason I'm doing this is just for it to show me actually where the error is here. So the error is on the show, whereby it says the show, within the show there's an issue of undefined. So this is on the show part here. Okay, so so what we left here is just something. We did not pass the variable that we are using within this function here. That's why it is undefined. And this, just like we have here within destroy here, we have this. Actually, these error messages are good when you want to, they make you understand something better. So okay, so let's run this again and see if it is able to pick for us the product. So the product is this one here, and that's what we have. So you can also do other things such as so that is obtaining a single product, or being able to show a single product. You can create a new product. Of course, that one you have been able to do. Now, you're also able to update a product. So, for example, you want to update a given product. So, you can either use put or patch. So, for example, if I use put, and here I want to update this product which has an ID of 3, which is of course this one here. So this peanut butter, let's say I wanted to change it to something different. So how would I go about it? So basically, you don't need to type everything. You just need to specify. For example, you want to change the price, so or the name and the price. So the name and the price. So this is the bread butters. So let's say peanut butter. So let's say I wanted to remove the butter. So I'll have this as peanut, like that, and then I'll set the price, which is this one here. So the price, I'm going to write it 149. Sorry, here. So 149.99. So we have that, and then the method here is put. So let's see. So we have an error message of description field is required. So it means they also need the description because we are using the validation. Okay. So let's also have it. Okay, so this is undefined. So we also forgot, I don't know what. Okay, so let's do this again. Okay, so the product has been updated, and as you can see here, what we have is also the same thing that is also reflected here. So when we run this again, we also have the same thing here. So that's how we go about. That is a simple way of implementing APIs, and of course you can also delete. So for example, you can also delete that particular given product. So for example, this is with the ID of 3. So if you call the delete, assuming we defined the product, so to return this statement message, which of course we highlighted here, which is this one here, return with this response of deleted with 200, and you can see the 200 is this one here, which says okay. All right, so now the last thing here I want to do is to show you how to set authentication in your application. Now, since you have now started with your API and everything is working well, your APIs are good, and of course you want now to use a front-end framework or something like that. So how can you use authentication also to ensure that your APIs are protected and your application has the security that you need? So implementing this authentication within Laravel, there are different ways you can use to handle this. That is to handle what we call API authentication. So for example, one is Laravel Sanctum. Another one is Passport or JWT, that is JSON Web Token Authentication, which are third-party packages, of course. But the best one that I would recommend for now is Laravel Sanctum, which is provided by Laravel itself. So what you can do here, let's come back here. So go to your API resource within your API route. Down here, I'm going to have this route, which is middleware. Route to middleware. Keep forgetting this other. Okay, and then here we're going to have the out. So the out here we're going to have is Sanctum. Let's spell it correct. And then here we're going to have group. So what you're doing here is basically when you are grouping your routes, you want to place them within a group in Laravel. So this is how you may go about it. So we have the function there, and then we're going to have this close with this. So what we have just done here, we have implemented the auth Sanctum within Laravel, which is now going to ensure that before you access any API within this product controller, it has to be authenticated. And that's what So let's now implement our Sanctum within our application. So how do we go about it? So this is how we go about it. So since we want now to ensure that our application is able to use Sanctum, so down here we are going to have this, going to have route post, and then going to have this, going to have Sanctum, then token function. You're going to pass it with the request. Okay, and then we're going to have this request. Going to check. We're going to validate. Check if, of course, we have the provided credentials. So here we're going to have email. Okay, you're going to have the required, and then required is email. Then we are going to have password. We're also going to require password. So in other words, they are required, so they have to be there when you are authenticating. So here we are going to have, we're going to say the user. Here is going to be user equals to user. Sorry, this is the user. So user where, that is where email. Okay, so we have requests. Then we have email. We want to request for email, and then this is fast. Then we have something like that. So afterwards, this we're going to have to check. Okay, so after the user, we are going to check if the password, of course, is we're going to check if the password, we're going to request for the password, just like we have said the user, where the email, request email. And then here we're going to have an if statement, which we're going to say if user is not, the password should be hash, check, and then going to have request password, and then we'll have here is user password. So what are we saying here? So we want to check the user. We want to determine if the user password is in hash form. So that's why we have this here like this. So we are going to check the request for the password, and then requesting for the password, we are checking the user password if the password is hash. Now, if that is not the case, you're going to throw a message here. So you're going to have this validation exception, this, and then you're going to say with messages, then you're going to have something email. So what you're going to say here is that provided credentials, correct? So the provided credentials are incorrect, like that, and then this one you're going to end it like this. Here, this one you're going to have it that way. Then of course here we are going to close this. Going to close this with this one here like that. But we have this as this. So finally, we're going to say return user, create token. And then inside here, we're going to have request device. So I'm going to tell you what we mean by this. But basically, we're meaning that the person to be logged in fully needs also to input his device name. That's what we're asking therefore. So this is going to be in plain text token. That is the token that will be generated here. So now what you need to understand here is this is how the Sanctum works. This is how Sanctum works. So we are going to return user, create an arrow. So create the token device name. So you're going to request for the device. So the person is going to input the device. Okay, and then what do we have here? So you're going to say the user is a model coming from the user table, and then we have where email, and then request. So we are requesting the email, and then so we are requesting the email, and then first like this. So here this is going to be, so here you need to import this class, which is that one there. You need to have it that way, and then yeah, so the email is required. Actually, what I was trying to do earlier, I thought the out Sanctum will just generate the required email, but we need to have this like this, so that um, when we do a request, we are actually going to ensure that the person has provided the required credentials. Okay, so now what we're going to happen, we are going to make a post request to this. I believe everything is working okay. Okay, guys, so once you have implemented your Laravel Sanctum like this, now you need to have somebody who is already logged in within your application, somebody who is already registered within your application, that is within your login, registration, and so forth. Now Laravel comes with this by default. So for example, we have you can create somebody just by running the DB seed, of course, and then within this user factory here, I'm able to get a fake name, a fake email, of course, a password, which I just implemented here, and then something, just other additional information, of course, within this factory here. So this person is already the person who is already authenticated in this application, which I ran here is Brian, and then the email is me. That is my email. So what happens here is just when you run the DB seed or DB PHP artisan user DB, that is user seed, what will happen is that the database is going to be populated with the username and email. And of course, if you want to check that, you can just go to your terminal and of course go to the database itself, and then you're able to see that the person that we have here is Brian, and then of course the password is in a hash format, but the password, of course, it is password. So what you need to do here, once you run this API Sanctum token, because this is the API that you are using, remember from where, from our API.php, this is what you have. This is what you are requiring to create or come up with. So this is so we are going to the post method, and then we are using the API, that is Sanctum token, whereby we request for the email and the password. And once that is done, we also request for the device name, of course. So those three. Now, if they are true, we are going to have a token that is going to be created. This token is the one that we are going to use to include it in the header of subsequent requests that are made within this application. That is in the header key of the authorization of your application here. You can see here within your authorization here, we have the bearer token. So this bearer token, we are going to get a token, and then this token is the one that you're going to place it here, so that anytime that you make an authentication in this application, your app is going to check this authentication, and then this token, of course, and then if the token matches, the person is going to be allowed into your application. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to add the email. So email, and then this email is brian@gmail.com. We're going to have password. Then password is going to be like this, and then we are also requesting for the device name, although you can still request for the first two, and if you don't want the device name, but just for security purpose, that's why we have included it there. So we need to have the device name there. Now the device name is this one here. When I run host name, within my Linux, I'm able to see. You can also do it on Windows and check. So the device name is that. I'm going to copy it and then paste it there like that. So once this is correct according to our application here, where is it? So this is what we have. So according to this, and then the password, of course, is within the factory. So what you're going to do, you're going to run this send using this post, because remember the route of our application here is a post request that we are making. So you just need to run this like this. Now, once you run this, what you're going to get is a token. So this token, you're going to use it to add it to your subsequent header request that you're going to make within this application. So you're going to authorization bearer token. If it's not there, just choose. So we have others, but you're using bearer token, and then you're going to add that token there like that. So that now once you come back to what? Come back to products. Now here you are able to access products, because now it's allowing us to, these are just validations within our of course our application, but we can, let's see if you're able to access. Sorry, we are doing post, should be get. So let's get the first product. You can see this is the first product here. But what would happen if this this token was not there, and then we try to make a request here? So it will tell you message is authenticated, because the token is needed there. I believe I still have the token. So we still do again send, and then you're able to access. So this is the secure way. This is the recommended way to implement your authentication using Laravel Sanctum. So let's meet in the next video. It might have been long, but hope you have got something. So like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to this channel.